John DeVore. Welcome to the channel. Today's a record review, and it's a big one, a huge one. It is, I'm just going to jump right in, and it is this monster. Prince, Sign of the Times, giant box set. This album, when it came out in '87, I was in college. I was in art school. I was a huge Prince fan. Bought it immediately, loved it, played the crap out of it at parties. Went to the show, I saw the Sign of the Times tour, which was amazing. So this is a big album in my life. It's mostly my favorite Prince record. It's a little bit of a battle for me sometimes because dated 80s elements. Most of the songs are Prince jamming on the little Linn drum machine, and those sounds really it grates on my nerves. But his musicianship is in full force here. His composing is in full force in this record. This is when Prince was exploding with creativity. He was all over the place. Obviously post Purple Rain, and this is not as precise a jewel as Purple Rain is. It's peak Prince. He had, just before this came out, he was working on several projects, which is not unusual for Prince, especially in the 80s. Before any of those were finished and released, he broke up his band, The Revolution, which is the band from Purple Rain in 1999. And all of the, Kiss and all those early brilliant records. So this sort of suddenly became kind of a gigantic solo project. There are a few other musicians on here, mostly on horns. Everything else sort of seems to be Prince playing everything, including that crappy little Linn drum machine. Sign of the Times is not a record that I would have necessarily done a video on, but this is no ordinary Sign of the Times. This is a gigantic Sign of the Times that includes far more than just that 1987 double record. Aside from a big giant color hardcover book, there's lots of Prince books. It has a remastered version of the two record set. It's remastered, yes, it sounds different. It's a little louder, a little bit more compressed. Bass is a little bit thunkier. Prince is generally not great sounding. His official releases tend to be mixed in a sort of a bland kind of way. So this is maybe slightly better than the original, but not a lot. And then it comes with a double album of all of the singles and B-sides, which is pretty killer, and some of those mixes are a little hotter and more fun. But the jewel of this release is 3 double albums of unreleased vault treasures. And this is the time in Prince's career and his life where we want all of the vault treasures. His creative energies were like nothing else happening anywhere on the planet. And the amount of sheer genius material that was put down on tape is staggering, as these 12 sides of material clearly testify. The other thing in this collection is a big triple album of this tour. It was the show in Holland, and then there's a DVD of a private Paisley Park show done in the same time frame. I have to say that what really made me want to do a video on this collection, I'm not expecting anyone to buy it. It's really expensive, as these limited release box sets tend to be. What I wanted to focus a light on is the fact that those 3 double albums in here of unreleased tracks, all of them are better at showing the genius of the guy named Prince. This is the period where he wrote his best shit. Literally months after Sign of the Times was released, the Black Album came out and was almost released, but Prince had a sort of a religious epiphany and decided that the Black Album was pure evil and recalled all of the pre-release copies of it, instantly making it one of the most legendary bootleg albums of all time. And then a sort of a rehash came out as Love Sexy. And I love Love Sexy. One of the things I love about Love Sexy, first of all, is that when it came out originally on a CD, it came out as one track. So you had to scan ahead through each song to get to the next song, which I thought was hilarious. It was kind of like a fuck you from Prince to digital or to the record companies. And so the huge advantage went to us vinyl heads who had it on LP, who could just go from track to track because the tracks were clearly visible in the grooves. Anyway, that was a big sidetrack. What I'm trying to say is that right after this record, Prince sort of went into a strange period where soon after he was fighting Warner Brothers and the record companies, and changed his name into that big P plus Ankh glyph. There's lots of elements on here of stuff that ended up going into Black Album, going into Love Sexy, certainly going into Sign of the Times. There's songs on here that sort of ended up getting sort of ripped apart and rebuilt into elements of other songs that did get released, which is really cool to hear. There's a bunch of stuff that's just raw jam, which is amazing because his band is awesome. And because the production on this is so much more stripped down and unpolished, you hear more of what's going on. While Prince's amazing guitar work is clearly evident on the release of Sign of the Times, his guitar work on these unreleased tracks is far more raw, far more jamming, and really just amazing. His singing is far less controlled. Prince was definitely legendary as a bit of a control freak, and so when he's recording not for release, I feel like he feels more free. There's definitely more interplay between him and his band. And the live Utrecht, the live show of Sign of the Times, in my opinion, is as good or often better than what was actually released in the studio version. Again, because it has the live energy and it has real musicians. The band is crazy tight, definitely in that sort of James Brown way, in that it's not allowed to sort of get out and get funky and get loose, but the jams are so tight. Every fire of every funk neuron in Prince's body is expressed in that band, and it's awesome. It's a truly great package. I'm sure a lot of these unreleased tracks are going to be available in other ways, and I know that the Prince estate is releasing a lot of recorded live shows, and those are also amazing. So this video is a little bit of a love song to the genius that was Prince, a little bit of a love song to his peak 80s output, and a little bit of a love song to unreleased treasures finally coming to light. Because there's a lot of us fans out there who will eat them up, and they are truly treasures. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you at the next video. Bye.